Boom. And boom. I think that's all the buttons. I think we're good. What
What's up,
up?
brothers?
What up, everybody? How are y'all?
Friends and brothers?
Apparently, Trenton thinks dues is such a dirty word he has to bleep it out. Like there's some words on
That's so
Facebook, like you
funny.
put the little asterisk instead of the letter, so the algorithm
Right,
doesn't kick you
right.
out. He put a little asterisk in
That's so
dues.
funny.
It's like that's a Masonic dirty word. You want to be sure you don't include the whole thing. Yeah, I think dues have been
That's
pretty
funny.
well beaten into the ground over
Yeah,
the weekend. So I don't think we
yeah.
really need to hit
I
on that.
I know. I even think that it went too far this time.
Mm.
I really do. And that's for me to say that. That's because I'm the too far king. Right?
Well, you know
But
what?
this time it did go a little bit.
I yes, it did go too far, but I'm going to be the naysayer here. I think there's two camps in Freemasonry. You got like a mundane camp that want to keep it like service club, right? And then
Right,
you got the group that knows it should be better. The the
right,
service club mentality is usually the vocal minority, right? They're usually
right.
the ones beating you over the head with their ideas, and so yeah, I mean it went too far, but maybe it's time we go too far
Well,
with
well,
some things.
well, and now let me rephrase that a little. Maybe not too far, but it wasn't the conversation that went too far in my opinion. I mean, we need to have those conversations. I
Mhm.
mean, that's the whole reason I post the stuff I do. It's the whole reason why I do it the way I do it, to where it's more of a calling somebody out than just saying, making generic, pokes at different aspects of our fraternity, because people don't respond to little pokes and questions and you know like, for instance, when I did the post about proposition, the value proposition of the lodge,
Mhm.
dude, I've got like 18 people that have looked at it, and let half of that, well, actually a third of that actually replied to it when I'm asking what kind of value people are getting, providing to their membership and to the community without, expecting money for it. That
Well,
doesn't sit right with me.
the oops
And
the
nobody wants to talk about that shit.
well, I would also say the disadvantage of all the different conversations about the dues that we had and then endowments is that those are like I remember briefly seeing your post, but my feed has been over like blown up with just notifications about the dues post and the
Dude,
endowment post. So that's
right,
that's what I've looked at. Like I remember seeing the post you made and making a mental
right.
note to go back to it. But every time I go to Facebook, it's like, hey, you got like five other. So I've been
I know, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's why. To be fair, I think that's
Well,
why
yeah,
a
I
lot of
know.
people didn't.
I have the same issue. Yeah, I have the same issue. I mean, I'm one of the, well, you saw what I wrote on there. Everybody saw what I wrote on there. And so I'm replying to crap all the time also from the same post. But, you know, I I wanted to, and it was more of an experiment than anything. I wanted to see if people would transfer their focus to something positive, but they don't.
You're right.
People don't care about the positive.
I agree. I agree.
Freemasonry has been infiltrated by the world, as we said many times. Instead of us affecting the world is affecting Freemasonry.
But
So
but
it's the same Fox and CNN, pony show on Facebook. When you put out a statement out there, you're going to get the same hardliners going
but let,
either
let,
or.
let's do
They're
talk about your topic briefly because we have been focusing. I think the tail can't wag the dog. You have to provide value, right? And I think you hit on that, and some other people hit on it. But
right,
you got to find a way to fund that. But let's put past that. Let's put past the dues and talk about value, right? Because I think we talked like we said we talked enough about dues. Let's actually spend some
right,
time tonight and talk about the importance of the value and what that brings to the table.
right.
So I'll say, just real briefly, and it's, like other people have pointed out, if you have high dues, and high dues really is a subjective term. High dues for some is not high dues for everybody. But if you have quote unquote high dues and the value's not there, well, of course you're going to leave. Of course you're going to find another
Right.
lodge. Or you can find a way
Right.
to provide that value. But most people, like you said, and I'm not trying to be negative here, but most people are they'd rather receive than give, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's in it for me? Yeah.
Well, they're just they're passive. They're used to watching. It's like watching TV. Like TV feeds you information. It feeds things to you. They're not really used to
Right.
providing that. And to be fair, when I was first in Mason, I didn't know that was really an option either. So I didn't receive, so I left.
Right.
And so I don't judge anybody for it. But that value has to be there. Say you charge like to me, $500 would be not like unbearably high, but I would say that's high, right? If I'm going to a lodge and they're charging me $500 a year, then, and granted, I pay more to go to the gym, so maybe even 500 is not a good number. I'm just saying, compared to other lodges, compared to all the lodges I've ever been to, I'll say 500 is a high number. We'll just say that way, okay? If I'm going,
Right.
if I'm a member of a lodge that charges $500 a year, and I go, and all they do is they do hot dog dinners, and read the minutes, argue with each other for an hour and a half, 2 hours, why would I? And the building's falling apart. Why? Why would I? Why would I pay to be there? Why would I?
Right.
Why would I invest any of my time or any of my money in that particular organization at that place? So the
Well, and
value
that's
has to be
and
there.
yeah, and that's also why so many people are against raising dues in their own lodges because there's no value there to justify the increase.
Yep.
Now, if people would approach it as saying, okay, this is not only going to pay our bills to where we don't have to mooch off the community, but it'll also provide better meals. It'll provide an opportunity to bring in speakers. It'll be, higher dues would give these different opportunities. This is what we can provide if we have higher dues that will increase the value.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, you can't just have the value first because you can't afford it.
Yeah.
But if you put that in there as this is the plan, you can hold us to this plan because this is what we say we're going to do, then I think that then you have a better chance of asking for higher dues.
Yeah. And
Now,
sometimes you have to give them a
ask you
taste
this.
of it. Like you have to have maybe one speaker and one really nice dinner,
Yeah.
and say, "Look, you guys really enjoyed this, but it's not
Right.
it's not free, right?" Maybe one or two guys had to pitch in to pay the dinner. One or two guys pitched in to cover the gas or a hotel for this guy. But say
Right.
if you enjoy this kind of thing, is this kind of Freemasonry you want? We can continue to do that. Texas is a great state as far as knowledgeable brothers, and
Yeah.
I mean we got some big cities with some great restaurants, but we have to find a way to fund that as a lodge and not just one or two people. So if you come from that kind of approach, like you're saying, I think that validates a lot of things.
Well, I was talking to somebody about this weekend. They have 2 lodge meetings a month. The first one should be the business, and then the second one should be either education or degree night. Not necessarily practice. I would put practice in its own thing. That's what we do in Goliad. Every Wednesday is practice and catechism.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is that if Goliad had 2 nights, we don't, but this is what I would do. I would do the first meeting as the business meeting and receiving of proficiency, and then if it's voted good, then schedule the actual degree to be the second night of the month. And if there is no degree, then make it an education.
Yep.
Make it something else. And now I was talking on another topic. We were talking about renting out lodge rooms and being able to consume alcohol. If you rent out your building to somebody else, are they allowed to drink alcohol? Which is in fact okay if it's a proper lease. It has to be a proper lease. It can't just be it can't just be the shrines borrowing our building. It has to be a proper lease to the shrine that that way there's liability on them and not on the lodge, if that makes sense.
That's interesting.
And
I didn't know
that's
that.
in Yeah, that's in 5083
Hmm.
if you read that in the laws. But what I was getting at is that on that second night of lodge, you can go and open lodge, call it to refreshment, and head over to the restaurant that has the back room that is sealed off, and have a very nice dinner and a nice presentation, banter back and forth, really good rhetoric, that thing that nobody participates in except for on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that's our
I
rhetoric.
would even say that's rhetoric by definition.
Yeah, right, exactly. So you go to this place and you have your stuff, and that creates value. And even if the lodge isn't paying for it, you're creating that medium to where you can do that. You can buy your own dinner, eat as well as you want or as cheap as you want, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes it brings up the level of your Freemasonry for your lodge.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that would be an excellent thing for lodges to do, is go back to the ones that aren't, go back to a 2-night meeting a month, a 2 meeting a month, not, yeah, 2 meetings a month scenario, and do exactly that. And I think you would create more value to your lodge that people would be a lot more happy about contributing to.
I would also say if your lodge doesn't have a lot of business, then you don't necessarily have to meet every month anyway, and you could have like every other month or quarterly, and those down months could be, hey, we're still meeting at the lodge, we're just doing more like what you're talking about, we're having speakers, we're having degrees if there's time for degrees. It really depends on the lodge and the needs of the lodge. But I know
the problem.
Go
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, the problem with that is it has to be in the bylaws.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So you would have to, because if you have a business meeting, then it has to have the agenda and it has to be done in proper form.
Yep.
If it's not, then so you would have to set your bylaws to mimic that.
It also means that if you say you're only meeting quarterly, for example, that means as the worship master, you really need to know, and your team really needs to know, hey, this is what's coming up the next 3 months, and we need to take care of business on business night, so that we're covered for the next 3 months, which a lot of lodges probably aren't ready for. I mean, a lot of them can't handle it on a monthly basis.
Right. Be efficient with it.
Yeah.
And know your stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Be prepared.
Man, there is.
I think it would force people to be more prepared if they did.
There are so many conversations going on right now in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah. Caesar Rubio's here. Hello, Caesar. Always good to have you. Masonic Muscle Podcast. If you haven't given it a listen, be sure to check it out. Caesar, we were actually talking about you. We were talking about you last week. Somebody, what were they asking about? Was it a California podcast, or was it about? It was about fitness.
No, they were asking about lodges providing, or Freemasonry providing fitness. If that's one of the goals of Freemasonry is to build us up fitness.
That's right. Well, we said
no, not necessarily, but we have a great friend and host of another podcast.
Yeah, we sent him your way, Caesar. Yeah. I'm just looking here. So he also said the fraternity has to take a cold, hard look at itself. I agree, and it's not ready for it.
Yeah.
I think the conversations this weekend kind of evidence that, because a lot of people were kind of triggered by it. They'd rather not. What's the phrase? Sweet lies instead of cold truths, something like that. Yeah. Right. They rather hear sweet lies about the state of the fraternity than the cold truth. But yeah. Trenton talked about using something made to replace the furniture of the lodge and your stained aprons and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Or at least take them to get them cleaned. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did that in my year. Several masters end up doing that. We go in, we take all the aprons home, we zip tie all the strings, throw them in the wash, and that way they don't get tangled.
You zip
throw them in the wash, bleach them. Yes.
That sounds extremely time consuming.
Yeah, you do what you got to do to make sure your lodge has nice aprons.
Yeah, I'm just
so I took all those when I went in, I made sure that there were nice aprons. I washed and ironed every one of them, I washed and ironed every white glove that we had in storage in our lodge,
Wow.
because we have a bunch of white gloves. They just don't get used. And then I also um, bought brand new tablecloths for the lodge so that we always had nice tablecloths to have dinner on.
I like that.
And
I'm just
and
impressed
Matt and a
your
lot of
lodge has
masters do
gloves.
that,
Most lodges don't have gloves, so that's impressive.
right?
Um, Trenton says he says that. By the way, I hung out with Trenton at the Scottish Rite reunion. Is that the right word?
Reunion? Yes.
This Saturday.
Yes.
So it's cool. It's cool catching up with him. But he says his lodge in New Jersey emails out the minutes the day before the lodge, so that doesn't have to be gone over during the meeting. I don't know that we can email them, can we, Dennis? I don't think we
No,
can.
we can't do that. We can print them out.
Yeah,
Um,
and I've seen lodges
but
that do
even
that.
still, there's a basic amount of information you still have to read.
Yeah, but it's
But
still
but you can print out the bulk.
yeah. You
Yeah.
can't print out the bulk, and it really streamlines things. Again, that's a secretary thing, but
And
I've
I've
seen it,
seen
and
lodge,
it's wonderful. Go ahead. Sorry.
and I've also seen lodges state frankly in the meeting, it got to secretary's communication, grand secretary's communication, grand lodge communication, or whatever, and they said the you should have received the email from the grand secretary. If you didn't, get with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll help you put your email address in Grandview,
Well,
and then you'll get it. And
unless
he didn't read it.
unless the communication says, "Please read this in lodge."
Right.
I mean, yeah, like you said,
Exactly.
post it on the bulletin board.
Well,
I have lodges
he
that
doesn't
do
even
that.
do that.
Oh, okay.
That secretary didn't even do that. I loved it. I was so happy when I heard that. He said, if you didn't get it in your email, come to me. We'll put it on Grandview, and you'll get it in your email, because I'm not going to read all that.
Yep.
It's like, yes, I almost joined the lodge right
David Lawson says a problem they face is they have about 300 members and only 103 dues paying members. Using the formula that was posted over the week or the weekend, which is your operating cost divided by your dues paying members, they'd have to raise their dues to $215, and there's no real value. So I would,
Yeah, and that's what most people are facing.
and I would say, frankly, 200 is kind of becoming the baseline in a lot of the lodges I'm seeing. I use 100 for the math, but I'm talking about endowments and stuff, and there still are a lot of $100 lodges, but I use $100 for math just because it simplifies things. Two of my lodges are $200 right now. Actually, I take that back. Three of my lodges are $200, and yeah, but the value, as far as not providing the value, yeah, I don't. There's no. What's the word I'm looking for? There's no time tested, like, guaranteed way to start doing that. You just gotta start. My advice is just start. Not that you ask for my advice. You start looking for people around you that could talk, like local speakers, trying to provide value. Try to improve the quality of the meals, improve the meetings themselves, and like Caesar mentioned, change has to be done incrementally. So just you have to start working
Right.
towards providing that additional value, and then you can come to the brothers and say, hey, you're really enjoying all this stuff, but and really,
Hire
even as far as the value goes, you at the end of the day, to me personally, if I don't have to fundraise, that's a lot of value right there. Like
Yeah,
that's
me
where I
too.
get most of my value. If you say we could charge $200 and you don't have to fundraise to keep the lodge open, I'll fundraise like if a brother needs dire assistance, or say, hey, we're going to raise money to change the carpet or something. Sure, I'll help with that. But if you tell me we're not going to have to fundraise every year to keep our doors open if we charge this, that's value for me. That's plenty of value right there. And if it's
Right.
value for me, if it's value for Dennis, chances are it's value for a lot of other people too.
Right. Yeah, I think that if somebody, if the very first thing you did, you decided, okay, once a month we're going to have a cleaning lady come in the day before lodge, and clean the lodge. If the brothers came in smelling a fresh, clean lodge
Mm-hmm.
after you raised dues, that in itself would make such an impression. They would be happy with what they spent their money on. If I walked into the lodge and it smelled clean,
Mm-hmm.
fresh, didn't smell moldy or dusty or anything like that, then man, I would pay more, because I that's the one thing that I have a very sensitive nose. I really do. My wife will tell you. I smell anything and everything.
Mm.
And that's the one thing that turns me off first when I walk into any establishment, is if the smell is off, no way. I'm not going to stay. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I have been in too many lodges to where I felt physically ill when I left because they were so dirty and just unkept. If you just did that one thing with the dues increase, you'd have me for life.
First impressions matter. I mean, this is why in some jurisdictions they use incense and stuff during degrees, right? Because
Yes.
you associate.
That's why we're supposed to.
You associate memories with smells, and
Yeah.
if you walk into the lodge and the first thing you smell is a dead rat somewhere, you're always going to associate the lodge with that smell
Right.
for at least the foreseeable future until that's rectified, and there's no guarantee that will even stop. So yeah, I
Right.
wholeheartedly agree. I mean, if I go into a lodge and it smells like apple cider, right? It smells like fall with cinnamon and nutmeg or something. I mean, that's a good smell. But as opposed to like a
Right.
dead
Right.
animal somewhere, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not the
Cook some
impression you want.
potpourri, man. Cook
Cook
some
some potpourri.
potpourri.
Old musty museum smells. I've been to a lot of museums. And I hadn't the
Yeah.
the
I love the smell of a library. I wish my lodge smelled like a library.
the best description I've ever heard of old lodges, and I'm gonna how do I want to say this? The way they said it was not so. I don't want to get demonetized. It smelled like old man parts. That's the nice way of describing it. It's like, yeah, you're right. It smells like musty old man parts. So
Musty old backside.
backsides. Well, you described the front side, but
That's a good fundraiser. Let's get those Let's get those pine trees and call it manly old musky old backside and sell that for a fundraiser for our lodge.
the past master's jewels.
Yes. That's awesome. That's awesome. So now let's shift this a little bit. You know, you mentioned that you joined the Scottish Rite this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody stand up and clap, and the rest of you say about time. So
I actually had two people come up to me, and they're like, "Hey, I was really surprised to see you here. I thought you were already a Scottish Rite Mason." And I was like, I was really surprised to see your name on the list. I was like, surely Justin Jones is already a Scottish Rite Mason. So I was like, I guess better late than never. But
Dennis finally badgered him into it.
Yeah.
So speaking of value proposition,
Mhm.
what are the degree fee or the initiation fees? Ours are $250 for initiation.
It was $275.
Okay, so $275.
Mhm.
Now, think about this. Think about the degrees you saw and the atmosphere you were in. And think about the fact that to become a Blue Lodge member, you probably spent $300, $100 each time. At least that's what ours are set at in my lodge. $100 each time, which I think is low, but that's another story.
Yeah, Caesar says 400 at his.
And yeah, and think about your experience that you received just in this one day.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't even gotten to the really good ones yet. Where did you end off?
16th was the last one.
Okay, yeah. Wait till you see the 18th. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some really good degrees. I love the allegory in a lot of the degrees leading up to where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
But wait till you see the 18th. You'll understand exactly why I love the Scottish Rite so much. But anyways,
even
that being
the fourth
said,
was really good. Like started right off the bat,
yeah.
like talking about Kabbalah and That was Larry Fitzpatrick was the
Yes.
I guess the worship master
Degree
at that
master.
point. Yeah, the
Degree
master, what do
master.
you want to call
Yeah.
him? And it was great. I always did recognize him because he had like a full on King Solomon beard
Right.
going.
He has a
But
big, yeah, he has
yeah,
a big one going now.
but yeah,
Well,
it was really good.
and yes, the fourth one is great. I even love the sixth degree as well, and it's a very short degree.
The six was good.
It's only about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But think about the experience you had and how much you paid for that versus what you pay to get into Blue Lodge. Talk about a value proposition.
I'll say this. I was very impressed with how well organized the Dallas Scottish Rite is, because right off the bat, like, first of all, there's no time when they don't know what's happening, if that makes sense. Like,
Exactly.
there's a degree,
And that's the way all of them.
and then
At least that's the way ours
and then
is.
they're talking to
Yeah.
you because they don't want you moving around. They don't want you exploring. I got in trouble for exploring.
Right.
They don't want you exploring or anything between degrees because everything waits on you, right? So they want you in there.
Yes.
They know exactly
Yes.
what's going on. They know exactly when you're supposed to go eat, when you come back, and right from the start, they're talking about their committees. They're talking about ways you can be involved, and I was like, well, we need this at the Blue Lodge level, like, because we don't even have these conversations until they're Master Mason, and by then they're overwhelmed. Like, we need to start putting these things in front of them, not, and it's just like with Scottish Rite, like, hey, you can't do any of this until you get your 30-second, but start thinking
Right.
about it. That kind of conversation.
Right.
Here's a list of
Right.
our committees. Start thinking about what you might want to be involved with, and
Right.
it's organized and it's intentional. They want you to be involved. They want you to join. And stay involved
Everything
with things.
everything we do in the Scottish Rite has a purpose, and it's intentional, and it's on a strict timeline. Because if we don't get it right, then it messes up the whole reunion.
Yep.
So it's on a very strict schedule going through the whole thing. Yeah, we have our Knights of St. Andrew. You wouldn't have snuck off to go exploring if you were in San Antonio, because we're with you the entire time. We have knights that are that are specifically assigned to the group, going from one A to B, and then sitting there with them the whole time and talking to them if they have questions in between degrees while they're setting up stage and all that kind of stuff. We have specific people in place to make sure that everybody is rounded up.
Yeah, I got distracted during lunch. I ate my meal and then went to the bathroom. Got distracted. So no one's gonna follow you into the bathroom, right? But
I do.
I bet you do.
Dude, it's herding cats, man. I'm not gonna let you get the group behind. I don't want you to ruin the experience for somebody else's education.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. That's
But
fair.
we have our Scottish Rite schedule, and then the Knights of St. Andrew have their own schedule for what we're supposed to do to make sure that the Scottish Rite runs just as smooth as possible.
So they have
That's our job.
blue kilts in Dallas. They look way cooler than the ones in San Antonio. Just saying. They look way.
I'm sorry, but see, ours. I'm going to tell you, but ours are actually registered tartans in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
I don't think yours are.
Oh, okay.
I don't think yours are.
Okay.
We're the only ones that have that.
Well, okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it
I'm
still doesn't
sorry
look
you
as
just
cool.
buy yours off the internet. I'm sorry you just get yours off the internet. But we actually have ours handmade specifically for us.
Got you. But no, as far as the degrees go and everything, it was all very well put together. Everyone was, you could tell they put a lot of work into practicing. Kadeem was there, and that guy was in like every degree. A lot of it was just like extra, but he definitely
Right.
He had some talking parts and he crushed it. I mean, he did really well. And so,
Yeah, we do the same thing. We fill in the gaps. If anybody falls short, there's always somebody to jump in and help. That's the beautiful thing about the Scottish Rite.
So there's a comment. I'll let you, if you want to hit it first. Wait. Oh, okay. Let's back up before we say that. So someone's asking about. Okay, David Loss is asking about the KSA. Not what it stands for. He knows what it stands for. What is it? You are KSA, so why don't you explain that, and then I'll talk about the other.
Yes. The Knights of St. Andrew are a invitation only body, and we're considered the the servants to the personal representative and or venerable master. Our job is to serve the temple. Our job is to serve the valley. So when there's events that are to be held, when anything is to happen, the Knights of St. Andrew are supposed to show up and be there to support that event no matter what. We've we pretty much do. I missed this past weekend. I apologize, Jason, but I had some other issues I had to take care of. But the Knights of St. Andrew are chosen based on their prior service to the valley, them proving themselves without even knowing that they're being watched. We watch them, and we decide who's going to get the invitation. And then after that, once you become a Knights of St. Andrew, your job is to serve the valley. Basically, you are part of the future of the leadership team, because you are doing what it takes to make sure that this valley runs smooth and equitable for everybody, not just money wise, but for for the value proposition. Our job is to make sure that everything runs smooth that we're involved with. That's our job.
Yeah.
If during the reunions, if we not only do the candidates, but we also have brothers that are right there for the venerable master. If there's anything that happens and he says, I need this done, then we go do it. We're going to go and we're going to dump out trash cans. If somebody forgot to dump out a trash can, we're going to do that. If we have to hustle and go grab some people for a degree, we're going to do that. If we lose a guy halfway through the reunion and the prompters have to be managed, then we're going to step in and do that.
That's kind of so Dallas is not invitation only. You can petition to join it if you want to. It's $200. So maybe I'll become not a St. Andrew, and I'll wear a cooler kilt than you, Dennis.
It won't mean as much as ours, because ours is invitation only.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, get you a kilt. That's another value that I'll be able to take to a Blue Lodge in Salado after Grand Lodge. I'm staying in Salado Monday night after Grand Lodge, and giving a presentation for the Robert Burns night.
Nice.
And because I'm Knights of St. Andrew, I'm going to be in my kilt, my kilt jacket, actually vest and jacket, Prince Charles or Prince Charlie version. From
it's not just a work formal. It's not just a work crew, Caesar. They wear kilts. It's a kilt.
We are a work crew, but we actually wear tuxedos.
Do you wear the kilts during the
thing?
So the Knights of St. Andrew,
yes.
They wore like a maroon jacket, like a
they had we wear a tuxedo.
So they presented the colors and everything. Oh, you wear tuxedos? They wore maroon jackets to differentiate themselves, make them more stand out.
We have a sash. A tartan that shows who we are. And we also wear our Glengarries. Did they wear their Glengarries?
What's a Glengarry?
The black hat with the feather, with the plume.
Oh, just where they're they wore them with their. I know what you're talking about. They wore them with their uniforms when they were doing the colors and everything. But
well, see, we wear them at all times. Even if you're a duck and you're working on the stage crew, and you're just in plain clothes working the stage crew, you still have your Glengarry on because you're a Knights of St. Andrew.
Oh, okay.
But anybody who's not doing physical labor like that, we're wearing tuxedos. And if you are wearing your kilt, then you have a formal top. That's why you have the Prince Charlie.
Is that like what Jason wore?
Attire? Yes.
Yeah,
yes, exactly
sharp.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, they had those too. They wore those and they had like their little pins. I don't know much about it, but yeah, they had those for the colors and everything. Like they were fully decked out when they presented the colors and all that.
And we have a bagpiper that Robert Chalk. He comes to the reunion, and then we line up. I think I told you this before. We line up, and well, first he'll be there with the chief, which is Jason, and and he'll start playing, and that's our call. And so we're just wandering around the temple, but as soon as we hear the call, then we immediately go to the the room that the candidates are in, grab our sword, and stand at attention while he's doing the call. And then once everybody's there, then Jason gets us lined up, and he goes into the different song and marches the new candidates through our Arch of Steel into the reunion. It's pretty badass the way that it's done now. It's we have really stepped up our game in San Antonio.
Devin McLean says he had an ancestral kilt, but it got half burned up on the 4th of July. That sounds like the right way to send off a kilt, man. In fact, that's probably how most kilts go. some kind
Right.
of fire related, probably related to alcohol too. I bet. But yeah. There is.
And then it just burns because you're not going to pee on your kilt. You're not going to defecate your kilt.
So Doug is a Marquardt. I'm probably going to mispronounce that. He says he's mixed some context, and I think he's talking about maybe like on Facebook. Why are fundraisers? This is the other thing I wanted to bring up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Why are fundraisers looked upon poorly? He's seen some conversations about in the past week, but don't have a lot of Facebook time to get too involved. So, what is
Go ahead and I'll go ahead, and then I'll give him my example.
Okay.
Go ahead.
If I fry fish to make money, I'm not a Masonic lodge. I'm a restaurant, right? If I rely too heavily on other people to pay for my
community.
hobby, yeah, to the community to pay for my hobby, then am I really being responsible as a grown man? And so really what that's saying is Freemasonry is the hobby of the members, right? We're just calling it a hobby to really just put it in the most basic sense, I guess. The membership should be responsible for paying for their hobby, what that entails is the building maintenance and the bills, and per capita, just anything that would normally fit under your usual operating cost. That's the cost of your hobby, and it's divided among the members of that organization. So I want to be clear, and I know Dennis probably might disagree to an extent. I'm not a fundraiser guy, to be clear. But if someone wants to do a fundraiser, like a small group of brothers, by all means, go do that. But don't use it to fund your hobby. Because what happens with fundraisers is you get 4 or 5 guys, if that many, that do all the work to pay the bills for 60, 70, 100 Masons who don't show up to help out or anything. And what happens is that they get burned out and they leave the fraternity, or they just drop the fundraiser. And so it's us relying too heavily on a handful of people to tackle the responsibility of an entire lodge. So I don't mind if a handful of guys want to go do a fundraiser, but that needs to be on top of and after the fact that the operating costs have been handled by dues. And as far as that fundraiser, it needs to be earmarked for something specific. You don't say, well, we just want to fundraise. Go join the Lions Club or Rotary if you want to do that. And it's not to disparage either one of those organizations, because I'm a Lion and a Rotarian, but they're service organizations. If you just want to operate like a service organization, go find that, go join that. But on the other hand, if you say, hey, the carpet's getting old and faded, I'd really like to do a fundraiser, and that money is going to go towards replacing the carpet, and it's going to cost X amount, so that's the goal. Sure, I'll be 100% supportive of that. I might not fundraise. I'll probably just donate money. Me personally, I'll just make a donation. But if that's their goal, if they want to do that, sure, do that. But if someone says, hey, we haven't done a fundraiser in a while, it's probably about time we did it. We need to be sure we have enough to cover the bills. No, that's not what we are. That's not who we are or what we do. Because, and here's really what it breaks down to. I've been a member of lodges before, where they do like two big fundraisers every year, and if they're not talking about how the last fundraiser went, they're talking about the next fundraiser coming up, and that dominates the stated meetings. Talk about the fundraising. You don't have time for Freemasonry when all you do is talk about fundraising.
Right. Okay, my turn.
Yep.
Tag.
Tap in.
Okay. So here's my take. Number one, I'm not against a fundraiser if it's within the lodge, within the brotherhood. If it's anywhere outside of the lodge, if it's to the community or anybody else, I think it's blasphemous. I think you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a charitable organization. And that's what we're supposed to do. That's how we get our 501c10 breaks for tax breaks and stuff like that being attached to the 501c3 of Grand Lodge. That's how we get those tax breaks, is by being charitable. But if we're taking money from this guy outside of the lodge and giving it as a charity and then claiming that we're charitable, we're just a freaking fraud. Mm-hmm. That's all we are. We're lying to ourselves and everybody else. All it is funneling cash from somebody else and claiming I'm so good, I'm so grand, I do so much for the fraternity, mm-hmm. blah blah blah. No, I think it's wrong.
Because charity.
I'm not going to participate in that anymore. I'm not going to do it.
Because charity now that means yourself.
Go ahead.
Charity's giving of yourself.
Exactly.
Something weird just
charity happened. In the most basic sense is love. And love is giving your time and efforts to somebody. Time is your most valuable asset. If you're giving of yourself to somebody or giving to where it hurts, of course, you earn that money through time. And so if you give that money, then that's giving of yourself. If you're getting it from somebody else, you didn't earn a damn thing.
Pause for a second. Because... Okay, I think we're good. Hold on, just give it 1 second. My screen did something really weird, and it all went blank, and I had to reload. But it looks like everything's still there. That's never happened. That was really weird. I'm sorry, Dennis. I didn't want people to miss out on content because it was acting up.
Because my conversation's too heavy. Okay, now here's my second point. My little girl, 7 years old, she's involved in everything. She's involved in 4-H. She's involved in Girl Scouts. She's involved in gymnastics. She's involved in crap. I know there's another one. Man, I'm a terrible dad. Anyways, so you've got all these things, and every one of these organizations want her to be a salesman for that organization so that they can get funds. And I'm totally against it. But her and her mom do it, and she was the second top salesman for Girl Scouts last year. Sold over 1,000 boxes of cookies for this organization that really hadn't done much of anything for her except give her some patches when she earns them. But it's almost that way with Girl Scouts, to where once they stop one fundraiser, they're already talking about the next one. It's like, really? That's not what this is about. They're supposed to be becoming better people, just like Freemasonry. So let's scratch that. Let's get off that bandwagon. But she does all these different fundraisers and asks the community for all this money. Now, after all these 4 times that we're going to come to them asking for money, then my lodge is going to come to them asking for more money. Mm-hmm. Because our lodge is not going to do a cheap fundraiser that's $5 a box for something. It's going to be $10, $20, $100 purchase items for those fundraisers. And so that's big money. And then on top of that, you've got the Lions Club, you've got the Rotary Club. They're all doing fundraisers. You've got the boosters for the high school, for the football team, for the baseball team, for the volleyball team. All these things are doing fundraisers in my little community of 2,000 people. 2,000 people. And they do it under the guise of, this is going to help fund them going to this event or doing this event or whatever. But all of a sudden, they got all this brand new stuff for the club from that money.
Yeah.
And all this time, it's putting that burden onto the community to support all those events. Our lodge is not supposed to be that burden.
Well,
Our lodge is supposed to be contributing with no strings attached. We're supposed to be contributing to the benefit of our community, not sucking it up like a sponge.
Well, to your point,
that's my 2 cents.
If I'm driving through the parking lot of Walmart and I see a family there that they got kids. I don't know if they're being honest or not, but they're saying they're having a hard time. So I pull over and give $100. Right. That's not me to really judge if being honest. Right. It's just me to be charitable.
Right.
That's $100 out of my wallet. That's charity. That hurts. It's $100 that I will miss. Right. Or even
no
50,
strings attached.
Even 50 or 20 or something like that. It's still money out of my wallet that I will miss. If on the other hand, if I say, okay, I got y'all covered, and I sell $1,000 worth of raffle tickets, and then I turn around and I donate that money to those people, are they benefiting from it? Absolutely. Of course they're benefiting from it. But if I say, hey, look at what I did. Look at all the money I donated. I donated $1,000. I didn't donate $1,000. I took $1,000 from people in the parking lot and turned around and redirected it to them. That's not charity. That's just redirecting money.
You know what? And you bring a big point up that I want to say real quick. Most people I know will look at that person dead in the eye and shake their head no that's on the corner. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, in a lot of big cities, there's people make big money on the corners, and we know that. There's some people you can obviously tell they could use that money. And I don't care if it's to get a beer. If they're in a bad position and they need a beer to help them get through that for the day, fuck it, man. Or screw it. I'm sorry about that. Screw it.
They're what my
Give
ads.
It to them. Let them. I know. Let them have that beer. Let them have that beer.
Yeah.
If that helps them get through their hard situation, let them have it. I don't care. That's not up to me. But we have people that will snub their nose to real serious issues within our communities, and then go and act like they're doing all this good by doing these fundraisers so that they can give $1,000 scholarship and promote their lodge to the school and to the parents and show that they're such a great lodge. Mm-hmm. I'm against that. I'm sorry. I'm just against it.
Yeah. All your cussing is stressing Caesar out, so cut it out.
I'm sorry, Caesar. Dang it. Sometimes there's some issues that I'm so passionate about, I can't control myself. That's one of them.
I promised Oscar I was going to ask this question. I got to dig it back up, though. Where is this question? I just said it. Let me see.
I know. I probably threw off a firestorm of comments.
Okay. Oscar asks, Cordova, if you're not talking about fundraising or Freemasonry and just going through the motions of opening and closing lodge meetings, then what can be done to change it?
Invite a speaker.
Yeah, that's what I think too. That's
the easiest way to change the momentum of a meeting.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes I said earlier on a post, like one of the things you can do is keep your meeting no longer than an hour. But that doesn't mean you rush through it just for the sake of rushing through it. Right? Like we're here to take care of business, but in a organized and expedited fashion. But we're not also just blowing through it just to say we were done and go home either. And so I think education is the primary reason for any Masonic meeting, regardless if it's business or not. And that should be the first thing you do. Make time for that.
Right.
And so I would say I was thinking the exact same thing. I would echo that. Get a local speaker to come talk about something. It doesn't have to be a long presentation. Any kind of, it's like some of the self-improvement people that I followed in the past, they recommend reading books, right? Just even if you just read 5 pages a day, 5 pages a day, it's still progress and it's still going to create growth. And that's what, like, if you have a speaker and he just comes and talks for 20 minutes, that's not like a long presentation, you're not going to get a massive amount of knowledge from that, but you're still going to pick up some nuggets, and you're still going to bring value to the meeting and to the lodge. Anything,
Hey, Oscar.
5 pages is better than no pages. 20 minutes is better than no minutes.
Right. Oscar, if you have somebody, or if you want to present one of my papers, I'll send you one of my papers and you can present it to your lodge.
Yeah.
In fact, all the inner circle members, we are working hard on our website. And all of my papers are going to be added in for all of the inner circle members to be able to read and pull off of. All I ask is that you make sure and give me credit so that when it goes into my book, then people won't think that I'm taking my stuff from what somebody else wrote. That's the only thing. And it's not, because I have an ego. It's because it seriously is going into a book. That being said, Oscar, if you wanted to create some kind of an event down there, like a festive board or something like that, and have multiple lodges come in, I'll travel down there and give you a presentation on whatever y'all want to hear about. I will create the presentation.
By the way,
but I like for it to be stuff about lodges and about esoteric stuff. I don't write history papers. Anybody can write a history paper. I'm not that guy.
Yeah. By the way, Oscar, I'm curious.
But I'll come down there.
Because last year, the officer leadership training, a brother from that area, he mentioned, he was actually from Brownsville, mentioned that there's not a lot of good education in that part of Texas. And I saw that you and a lot of brothers from South Texas, like on, I think you're on the border, aren't you? But a lot of brothers from border towns
they are.
Came to Corpus. So I'm curious if that kind of helped to fill a void as far as education goes down there, because that was I mean, clearly we wanted to step up and help out for the Master Mason degree on the Lexington and provide a reason for people to go aside from the degree. But I also wanted to be sure that we could hit that part of Texas. So I just want your thoughts to hope that we accomplish that goal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. The border towns, they get very little from Texas Freemason because they're so far away. It's hard to get people to go out there and spend their time and money doing it.
Yeah. Well,
but my wife has family down there, so I'm happy to come down. We just got to plan it, and I want it to make it worth your while. If I'm going to come down there, just having 4 people hear it, it's not going to help your lodge. It's not going to help the area if just 4 people hear it, because I'm calling people to action, and it's good for more people to hear it so that y'all can either get pissed off at me and do something about it, or agree with me and do something about it.
By the way, since it's brought up, Jason Hiroshita, so I'll be going to Faith Lodge February 3rd. Is that I looked at the lodge. What town is that in? Is that in Wichita Falls?
It's way up there.
Yeah. So it's like a 2-hour trip, but it's going to be on a Saturday, so it'll be like a luncheon. So if anyone is in the area, definitely come check it out. I also wanted to touch up. Oh, there was a question. I want to know your thoughts on this before I say anything. So David Lawson says, what about doing a fundraiser involving the community for the scholarship fund? Isn't it okay for the community to help support these kids?
I don't like it. I think we're still a fraud. We're taking money from other people to give to these kids, and then we're saying that we did all this nice stuff. I mean, we do it. Our lodge does it. Mm-hmm. But hell, we wouldn't be doing as much if we didn't have the match from Grand Lodge.
Yeah, it's true.
Really.
I don't deny. It's like I was saying with the scenario with the parking lot. If I raise $1,000 and give it to the family, I mean, the family benefits. Clearly, they benefit more than $100 I would have gave. But if I'm going around telling people that I gave $1,000, and look at all the money look at all the charity that I am doing, that's not accurate, is it? Right? It's so me personally, I think it's all in how it's being presented. Like I said earlier, if the lodge is big on, like, if you have brothers that just want to do fundraising, they don't know what else to do, they enjoy fundraising, sure, let them do that after the operating cost is covered with dues. But by that same token, how is it being presented? If the lodge is saying, look at all this money that we donated, I think if they say, look at the money that we raised, it's different than saying, look at all this good stuff we do, look at this money we donated, because that's different. That's misleading to say, look at all this. It's the same thing like that figure, like we give like $1 million in charity every year or every day or whatever it is. First of all, I think that's outdated number anyway, but it's not charity. It's look at all this money that we are redirecting towards these things. So I don't know.
I asked another question. Go ahead.
I just, me personally, I feel like it's, I don't know. I leave. It's always all these things we talk about stuff to the lodge, right? So I say I leave it up to the lodge. Well, who am I? But me personally, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Sorry, what were you gonna say,
Hey,
Dennis?
um, I actually like the I
I'm
like
sorry.
the
I'm sorry. Let me just hit on this because Caesar makes a good point. If you really want, if it's really about being charitable, if it's really about helping others, then you don't need the accolades, right?
right,
So if you say, hey, we're going to work with the Lions Club and Rotary, and we're going to raise money for these scholarships, but you just do it anonymously, you're doing it for the right reason in that case.
right.
But
But we're going to the schools, giving it to them as members of the lodge.
yeah,
We're telling them in the newspapers that we're doing it. All this stuff. We're doing advertising. That's what we're doing. Now, I was gonna say,
go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're buying PR. That's what you're trying to do. You're donating money
Right.
trying to buy PR. Go ahead. Though.
It has strings attached.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you do something without strings attached, then I'm all for it. But the stuff that we do has strings attached. Now, one kind of fundraising I do like is um, golf tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because there is benefit to the people that are doing it. People love to play golf anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even back in 2010, I was paying $125 a round to play golf. And so if you do a golf tournament and you're charging, $100, most people do like $100 or $400 for a group, or 500 or 400 for a group or something. I don't know. 125 or $100 a piece if it's a group. And then you have different prizes along the way, but they're getting the value of playing golf, eating dinner. It's a nice experience. They're paying for something that they would have been paying for anyways. It just happens to be going to charity.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like those kind, but a fish fry, that's totally different.
So
A raffle, that's totally different.
you touch on something.
That's not.
You touch on something that's, and I want to hit Caesar's comment real quick. Then I want to revisit this. It's along the same lines. Caesar says, no fundraiser. It takes time and energy away from exploring the mysteries of Freemasonry with your brethren within the lodge walls.
Yes.
I agree with that. However, and I've said this also, I think it was the same about providing value for your members. Getting your brothers outside the parameters of your lodge to do things as a group and bond has value. It has a lot of value, because when you're bonding, doing activities outside the lodge, it in my opinion, it brings you closer. It's like those lodges that do like meet the Mason night, or they go to like the pub after the meeting.
I
Right?
would rather do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
would
so,
rather not use the fish fry as that opportunity.
exactly. But what I'm saying, that's okay. What you're talking about, fish fry, that's work. Doing something that you enjoy together as a group is not a fish fry,
Right.
right?
Go
That's
play top golf
go
or
play
whatever.
top
Yeah.
golf, axe throwing, going to the pub, playing golf like you're talking about.
Well, we have shotgun. We have shooting days from in our valley. We have a shoot club, and they just go out and shoot guns, man. Just
Yeah.
at the dirt. They're just shooting guns, shooting automatic weapons, and
But
shotguns,
but by that
all
same
kinds of stuff.
token, if you say, hey, it's going to cost X amount, and that money's going to go towards whatever, like you're talking about like the golf tournament or something. If you're already doing an activity that you like, it's internal, like you said, because it's the Masons paying for it, and the money's going towards whatever. But you're bonding, and you're
Right,
contributing towards something ultimately. I could,
right.
yeah. So like Caesar says, that's different. That works. That does work. Those are opportunities for fellowship outside the lodge. Yeah. And so if you
Yeah.
could tie those together, I think that's powerful. But saying, hey, we're
I
going to
even
meet and
like
fry fish, or we're going to go and we're going to sell raffle tickets. That's no, that's not enjoyable. That's not work. If I
right.
mean that's work. That's not something that's going to bring you closer together necessarily.
But like barbecue cook-offs are cool because then everybody pays that tournament fee basically to be in the cook-off, and you have
Probably.
all these lodges that are going against each other, and you're all getting together. You're just sitting drinking beer while the barbecue cooks and having fun. I mean, that's the good stuff right there. I enjoyed those kind of things. I just don't like it when we're asking for money from the community. I
Yeah.
really don't.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, Oscar says they get together and play pool at the pool hall and take turns paying for the group. Yeah, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's cool.
The importance of fellowship. And so if you okay, there's this phenomenon with teachers when you teach a kid 36 weeks, right? 6 weeks at a time for six terms, like 6 weeks. That's 36 weeks. And then towards the end, you go to Walmart, and and one of your students sees you and looks at you like a zebra just got out of the zoo. Like, what are you doing outside the school? It's 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 the same mentality. Like if you
It's
only
an
see your
oddity.
brothers, if you only see your brothers at the lodge, you only associate them as at the lodge, right? You can't. I'm of the opinion that you can't build true, deep, close bonds if that is the only place you ever meet your brothers.
Right.
You need
That's
to.
why I say have education. I really believe in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, wait. What? What'd you say? Have your education? What?
At a restaurant,
Oh
like in
yeah.
a closed room
Yeah.
atmosphere to where you can talk about whatever you want to and have the rhetoric, that creates bonds.
Yeah.
That creates that back and forth, challenging each other.
Mhm.
If you want to get to know me, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Tobias says, "What about projects for brothers to work on together? Videos or building cars? Or yeah, I mean, if
Oh
you
yeah.
have if you
Oh
have
yeah.
brothers that have similar interest, I mean, that's kind of what the shrine's all about, right? You have these
Yeah, I was
different
gonna say
groups and they similar
that's
interests.
exactly right.
You got brewing clubs, you got car clubs, you got golf clubs, any kind of club you could think of. I remember going through the one in Houston. Was it Houston? When we were there for OLT, like they got rooms for just about any kind of club you could think of.
Yeah.
I explored that building too, but
Yeah.
no one yelled at me.
Right. And
I
we
got a
were
bad
and we
habit of
were
just
a little
wandering off, I guess. But
we were a little more than inebriated too,
yeah, but
and they still didn't get on to us.
yeah. So if you have brothers with like interest, absolutely. I mean, build those bonds. Oscar says he's gonna give Caesar a call next time he's in Cali. That's really cool, man. I'm kind of jealous. I like to hang out with Caesar. But yeah,
I know, Caesar, you got to come to the next summit. This one was good, so I think we're going to have to make sure and get you there somehow next year.
Devin says one thing I hate and find sad about adulting is how everyone doesn't have time. I always thought if you're truly passionate about something, you would find a way to make the time. Yeah, something about when you're a child and your parents tell you you don't have time, and you always say, I'm not going to be that way, right? And then as a parent, you don't have time, and so it's I've caught myself doing that a few times. But yeah, it's something I don't know. I know what you mean though. It's unfortunate.
It's the sad thing is that our culture today, everybody has to feels like they have to be an Olympic champion, a golf pro, a, a, a an Eagle Scout, name this club, be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody feels like their kids have to be in everything: soccer, football, baseball, golf, tennis. Everybody thinks their kids have to be in everything, and really they don't. And all that does is it just minimizes the amount of quality time you actually have with your kids,
Yeah.
right? And then because you're not getting that quality time, then you feel guilty if you go do something else in the did you give me that thumbs up, or was that me?
I didn't
That's
know. I'm looking at YouTube. I'm
huh.
not looking at Zoom.
Then
You gotta.
when I that's funny, when I did this, it gave me a thumbs up on my screen.
Oh, it gives you a
That's
thumbs
so
if
funny.
you do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
so funny.
I didn't know that.
But anyways, so we put our kids in all these things to show we love them, and we want to give them the best opportunity in the world. But really, do they really need all that? Or would they rather, like my daughter asked me the other day, when are we going fishing, Dad?
Yeah.
She does all this stuff, and all she cares about is when we're going fishing again.
Mm-hmm.
And because she's doing all that stuff, it makes it harder to do other stuff that they probably would really enjoy a lot more.
It's the competitive nature of living through their kids. Yes, Oscar. I think you're right.
Yeah. And we're failing miserably
Caesar.
Because that's our culture.
I think
And
a
so-
lot of us. I don't know too much about your childhood, Dennis, but I think a lot of us, I had a great childhood, but I also feel like there was a lot of things that I should have done that I didn't, and I also feel like there was opportunities that for some reason or another I just couldn't take advantage of, right? And I think as parents, a lot of us grew up with something similar, or maybe they couldn't do anything at all, and so they're overcompensating through their
Right.
kids, because they don't want
Right.
their kids to ever feel like they had opportunities they couldn't do. But I think, do we need to have every opportunity? I mean, do we need to? If I express a slight interest in basketball, just the slightest, does that mean I need to go play basketball for a whole season? Not necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I feel, and that's the way it is with my daughter. If she does something and she's not very good at it and doesn't care about it, she's not going to do it again.
Yeah.
I can tell you. I'm just not going to do that, because I want her to do something that she enjoys and she's passionate about. She really wants to exceed at. That, like gymnastics, man. I'm going to make sure she's there 3 days a week, 2 hours a day on 2 days and 2.5 hours on another day. I'm going to make sure she's there because that's her passion.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Girl Scouts and 4-H and all this other stuff, if she doesn't make it to that, I don't care, because I know that that's not her passion.
Yeah.
Now 4-H is kind of new, so it may end up being a passion. But if it's not her passion, I want to give her the opportunity. I'm not going to keep her in there if I see that it's just wasting her time our time.
We took my daughter. She said she wanted to play basketball, so we bought her a basketball, right? And we went to the youth association. Like the first night, it's just kind of like a free practice, I guess. And
Right.
5 minutes in, she's sitting down. She's done. It's like, glad we didn't pay for this, right? But,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, but if she was like all in it, then yeah, sure, we'll play basketball. But I'm
Right.
not gonna drag my kid to a practice. And a lot of parents do this, I think. Drag their kids to practice and force it on them if they're not interested
Right.
in that.
And start yelling about it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's another thing. When my kids were young, my boys, I was one of those parents, and I feel bad about it. I mean, I was on the baseball committee, whatever it was. I was public relations for the baseball, the youth baseball group.
You were public
And
relations?
yeah. And
Hopefully you
I
didn't
did
cuss
the
as much as you do
microphone.
on this show.
I know, right? And I did the microphone for the football games for my son, and I would get on to him to make him try to push harder.
Mhm.
I was always there pushing my son in soccer, and now with Sarah, with she was in we just finished volleyball season, and one day she wasn't going after the ball much, and she wasn't really putting forth the effort to attack the ball when it came. She'd just watch everybody else do it.
Mhm.
And I told her after the game, I said, "You didn't do a whole lot." She said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "Well, do you care that y'all lost?" "Nah, not really." I said, "Okay, this is your last game." And she immediately decided to do better, and
Oh,
she finished out the season. But I didn't yell at her. I didn't tell her to beef it up. I just told her, if you're not passionate, we're going to move on. We're not going to waste our time doing it.
even if they don't care if they won, if they're having fun, that's in my opinion, that's a win. As long
Well,
as they're
see,
putting
I
effort
don't
in.
even I don't care about that. Sports is supposed to teach people to be competitive. It's a
Mhm.
sport. And if it's not teaching them that, then why in the heck am I wasting my time there?
Yeah, I can
If
see
they
that.
could care less, then why am I wasting my time?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
We
point.
have fun fishing.
Yeah, it's weird how like you could try to do like the most ornate and most expensive things for your children, and at the end of the day, they just want you to read them a book or take them fishing. And
Yeah.
I think we put adult expectations on kids,
Yeah.
right? Like as an adult, I would really appreciate it if someone wanted to take me to, I don't know, learn to play golf or something. I don't know, right? But
Right. Right.
really, as a kid, like my dad was gone while he was a police officer. Really, as a kid, I just wanted my dad home.
Right.
And that's the
And
thing
that's and
about lodges. My son asks me almost every night, "Do you have lodge tonight? You gonna be at lodge tonight?" Because he wants me home. He didn't really care. He didn't care
right.
if he didn't care about this at his age. Maybe one day he'll appreciate it, but he didn't care. He didn't care what we talk about or how much money we raise or what education officers people we bring to have talks or really what we do for the fraternity. He doesn't care about that at his age. He just wants his dad, right? So
Right.
it's
Right.
we
And
kind of
that's another
go ahead.
thing is that we rob ourselves of time with our kids of time by having them do these sports, and we're there but we're not really present in their lives while they're doing the sport, and so they still need that time with us.
Yeah.
And so we spend all this time doing that, and then they still need our time, and then we don't have time for lodge because we've done all this other stuff. And I understand it, I get it, but it's a culture that we have to really kind of rethink what we're doing and how we manage our time with our children, and then that way it manages our time with our Freemason.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the original lesson of the cable toe, right? And I think I'm just as guilty.
Or the 24-inch gate.
That too, yeah. But we go so far outside of the if your family's at the center, we go too far out of that sometimes, I think. And really, the center can be whatever you want it to be within your own interpretation.
I've always bought the very best of everything from my kids, and whatever they're interested in, I bought the very best of it. My son, both my sons had trumpets, guitars, basses, drums, professional, not just not just the little play ones that you get from Five and Dime or whatever. I'm talking about professional equipment.
Mhm.
And in spite of me, they became amazing musicians. And I've been a musician all my life, but I didn't work with them a whole lot. They just saw me do it, and they wanted my attention so bad that they learned how to do the stuff on their own. I was a piss poor father to my boys, and too many of us do that. We'll buy all the stuff that they need to keep them busy doing something else. That's our problem. At least it's my problem, and I see it with more and more people, especially in the lifestyle that I used to live in, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious if the screen is gone. I don't know what's up with YouTube tonight. I don't. The screen's not showing up on my end. Our Zoom screen. Maybe did I do something weird?
It caught my F-bomb and said, "Nope, we're done."
No. Let me just see if it goes back. That's strange.
So back to value proposition. Any of our brothers that are on here, what are some of the values that you get from your lodge that are different from what we've already talked about? We've talked about, education, and we've talked about going out and having social events and stuff like that. And we've talked about even going out and doing, golf or top golf or whatever, shooting, different things. Is there anything else that your lodge does that you don't know of many lodges doing that really brings the brothers together and helps improve your membership as men and Masons?
Okay, the page has become unresponsive. That's weird.
One of the cool things that my lodge is doing this year is, I'm letting you work on that while I talk.
Yeah.
One of the cool things my lodge is doing this year is a scavenger hunt on Halloween.
Oh, I like that.
Every year our whole town square shuts down, or it gets blocked off, and we have Christmas, Halloween, 4th of July. We have events where the whole city, whole county gets together in the town square. You have all these people, all the different businesses are passing out candy and stuff like that. And so our lodge is doing a scavenger hunt to where they start off at the lodge and then go and they find all these different characters and all these different people around town at the different points to the square, and even on the hayride and stuff like that. And you check off your thing and find out what the next clue is, and go find that thing. And at the end of it, they'll get a prize or whatever. But talk about community involvement with no strings attached. That's just fun, man. That's fun for parents and their kids.
Yeah, that's
I think that's the most
value.
awesome idea. Yeah, I think that's the most awesome idea that any lodge could have come up with. And I was fortunate that, the people of my lodge came up with it. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. So all I can do is brag on them because they've done a hell of a hell of a job for Halloween.
All right, something's up with YouTube because it's not. I don't know. I can't tell from their end if they're seeing anything, and it's other websites are working fine. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. So let's see what the deal is here.
Do you see any comments from them?
No, like it's. I had to reload the entire page and it's not reloading. So I don't know what happened, but I can't pull up YouTube separately on another tab either. But like Facebook's fine, Google's fine. I don't know if it's like a YouTube issue. So we'll just see.
Can you log in on your phone?
Let's see.
So we need to know if they can see it. If we're just sitting here talking to ourselves, then that's kind of pointless. Value proposition, man.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Oh, Triton says everything's fine. That's okay. The weirdest. He says they see us. I don't see. That's the weirdest thing. But okay.
Nice. Now go through the phone and find all the questions and all the replies and stuff.
Yeah.
Comments. Yeah, by the way, friends and brothers, if you come in here, make sure you hit subscribe if it's your first time. If you want to be a part of the inner circle, then go ahead and where you see underneath our platform after you subscribe, you see underneath a couple of videos, you'll see all the members that have joined, and then on the right hand side it says join. Click on that and you can become a member of the inner circle. and you get access as Inner Circle members. You get access to all of our videos, not just the ones that go to public, and you get them also before other people.
That's the weirdest thing. But okay.
I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I was just. Yeah, I can see the comments now. I don't know what's going on the other computer. Yeah. Definitely.
Dude, it's time for you to buy another
I
computer.
know.
I'm telling you.
Dude, I'm thinking it as you're saying it, so I know. But it's never done this before. I don't know what the deal is.
I was looking at some refurbished ones this weekend. I mean, if they're refurbished, then they fix the problem, right? And they got desktops for like $300.
Oh.
It's amazingly cheap.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that again this week. Probably get a new computer pretty fast. What were we talking about though? I wanted to say something based off what you said, and we got talking about desktops or
About
laptops or
value
whatever.
proposition for the community and not with no strings attached.
I don't, no, it's something else, but yeah, we're gonna do we're doing a hunt. About what?
All of our kid stuff taking our time.
No, I don't remember what it was. But we're going to do a haunted house this year. Oh, we were talking about the memberships. Yeah, definitely. That's still we didn't push it too much because we were really laser focused on the summit, right? But that is definitely a thing. Do we want to talk about January? Since we're talking about the inner circle?
Well, yes, but not where I was talking to you about.
Okay.
Because we may go ahead and be there with some other people.
Okay. So we'll just hold that till we talk about it then.
Well, no, we're still going to do something.
Well, go ahead and spill it then, since we hinted at it.
in January at Grand Lodge,
Thank
we're
you,
going to
Oscar,
have
for
some kind
gifting
of
the membership.
we're going to have some kind of a get together or a dinner, or lunch or something together with the inner circle, and we want to do it at a time to where we can all sit down, relax, have a drink, eat, and record some stuff, record some thoughts. Everybody gets their moment on the podcast, and we just talk about anything and everything that's on our mind, especially what's going on in Grand Lodge. So we are going to have an inner circle event at Grand Lodge, and it may be a dinner on Friday night before we go over to the outdoor bar and grill, or we could have a dinner there.
Yeah.
If everybody wanted to get together and have dinner there, and then just go out and hang out with all the other brothers.
Yeah.
But I would like to go somewhere, to be honest, that's kind of quiet to where we can talk.
That's kind of what I think too, and I would like to not feel rushed. If I don't want to compete with the backyard, if that makes sense, but I mean,
Right.
We'll figure it out as we get closer. But yeah, definitely.
Well,
something.
the backyard stays open till 2 a.m. anyway, so you might as well just don't have to. You can eat until 10 o'clock. I usually don't go until 10 o'clock anyways.
Got you. Yeah, but something, and we're also talking about later in the year, maybe just doing like a retreat for the inner circle. But we also got all the videos, all the ad free, all the extra content that's for the inner circle. So there's a ton of value on that end also. But we're also looking at like we're talking about with the dinner and just ways of saying thank you, ways to provide additional value for you guys.
And now that we're through the summit, it's time to go ahead and start having guest speakers again on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start having those. I don't know. I was thinking about that, and now we also have members only Zooms as well, and we just talk about whatever y'all want to talk about.
Yeah, they're always popular. Yeah, we do those a lot.
Yeah, but I was thinking about, even in our interviews, we could start making that available for our inner circle to join in, just to listen and watch, if they want to, so that they can see it live. But either way, with the members only, that content gets uploaded immediately, so that members only get to see it as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
And everybody else has to wait.
Oscar's asking, for those that have never been and are not voting, what days should they? So okay. So he's never been and he can't vote. What days should they show up for a Grand Lodge? Thursday? Like as far as your recommendation?
Um, Thursday is a bunch of pomp and circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in learning about the different appendant bodies and um, like they have the Demolay uh, chancellor come speak. They have the Rainbow Girl. Um, I can't remember what she's called. They have the top person in Rainbow Girls
The
speak. They
prism,
have
the high
Eastern
prism.
Star speak. They have all the different dignitaries and all the bodies come to speak. The chairman of the home and school. Um, they have all those people come and speak on on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also the time where you get to see grand procession as they come in. Just depending on, usually they've got all the Knights Templar there with their Arch of Steel,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody walks under the Arch of Steel in grand procession or at least all the officers, to get to the stage, to the main stage. So that's what happens Thursday. Sometimes, if all the hoopla gets finished soon enough, then they'll start on business Thursday evening.
Mm-hmm.
But not very often. Well, yeah, sometimes, but not all the time. Most of the business happens Friday, and you'll want to be there through Friday. Even if you're not a voting member, because you want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Are you there?
as
Okay.
yeah, I'm here. I can't remember if just a regular master can vote in as proxy for the lodge, or does it have to be a past master? I can't remember.
I think if the lodge votes it, they can, but they don't have their own vote because they're basically voting on behalf of the
Right,
lodge.
right. They only have but if members of your lodge are not going up to Grand Lodge, then you may ask them if they want you to be the proxy to vote on their behalf, because that's very important. The lodges decide. The lodges and the membership, the Grand West, which is past masters, they decide what passes and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So if your lodge, if your officers cannot show up, they need a proxy so that somebody can show up and vote. So find out if they're going to and do that. And then Saturday they wrap up any business that hasn't been accomplished, and then do the installation. Now, I will say, in some circumstances, they will hold certain things until the very end, because a lot of people leave at the very end. And so this year might be a good time to stay till the very end.
Last year was.
Yeah, yeah. I stay every year. I
Yeah.
watch the installation every year, and I'm also there for anything that happens afterwards. And we typically leave on Sunday, but to each his own.
Yeah.
The installation ends Saturday at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. That's when it usually ends.
I would say if you are already like I'm 50 minutes away, maybe not even that long. So if I'm already off, which I'm not usually now that I'm teaching again, but if I was already off or didn't have to take a day off, sure, I would go on Friday. I mean Thursday. I would go on Thursday. But uh, unless you live close by, you don't have to get a hotel, and unless you don't have to take a day off, I probably would not go on Thursday. Me personally, my
I do.
recommendation.
I actually go Wednesday night, and I stay Wednesday through Sunday.
Mhm.
But then this time on Sunday, I can't remember if we're staying another night Sunday night, or if we're going to go to Salado and then stay over there Sunday night, and then we'll also be staying Monday night. I'm not going to come back to Goliad until Tuesday, so I'm going Wednesday to Tuesday.
My opinion is Fridays usually the most interesting because I enjoy the resolutions and stuff. I mean, if you
Yes,
like the independent body stuff, if you like the pomp and circumstance, sure, go Thursday. But like I'm saying, my personal opinion, like I've gone on Thursday before, and I mean I enjoyed the fellowship, but as far as like the the pomp and
Yeah,
circumstance.
I
That's
usually
not.
go and visit with brothers and get see who all's there and get things lined up for the weekend that, you know, because we plan every night, there's something going on. And so we're planning on what's going to happen throughout the whole weekend.
So
So we solidify everything Thursday.
Justin's asking. So when you say officers voting, just the top three officers, uh, past masters too. Like
Yeah.
if you're a
Any
past
past
master,
master has a vote.
if you're a past master, you have a vote. Otherwise, wardens, master, sitting master. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah. The sitting master goes and votes, and they get 3 votes for the lodge.
Yep.
If they're not available, then it goes to a proxy. Well, if they're not available, it goes to the senior warden and then to the junior warden. But if the junior warden is not there, it goes to a proxy.
Do y'all know if they'll be doing a master mason degree this year? So deacons can't vote not unless you're a past master. As far as a master mason degree, I don't know. It's probably too far out to know for sure. Like I was wondering if they're going to do another like a little vendor fair because they did that last year. That was really enjoyable, but I haven't heard anything about that. So some things may be revealed as we get closer, as usual.
Yeah, watch Dave Nickham's Facebook post because he's the one who usually organizes stuff like that outside of Grand Lodge or like vendor membership kind of stuff, or vendor stuff outside of Grand Lodge.
Yeah.
But there's vendors in Grand Lodge, and that's one of the things that we do on Thursday is, I'll bring the girls and we'll go and visit the different booths and talk to different people.
Yeah, but that
my daughter
pop-up
loves
shop
to
was
go.
so cool. That was a cool
it was
thing
cool
to have.
But the girls love to go. My daughter wants to go and get the year's stuffed animal from the Rainbow Girls every year. She loves the Rainbow Girls. I have to charter a group because she wants to be a Rainbow Girl.
Oh, I thought she already was a Rainbow Girl.
No, at 8 years old you can pledge, and you're just a pledge. You can't be a. She's 8. She just turned 8.
Oh, I see. But there's not one about around. Okay, I got what you're saying. Got you.
Right.
Because I thought she was my oldest, same age.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, you can't. They can only be considered pledges for a couple of years until they're like 10 or 11 or something like that. And then, but I'll do it now so that she can be a pledge.
Oh, you can't be a full member until a certain age or something.
Right.
I got you.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Understood.
But I'll make sure and get it going so that it's there for her.
It's hardcore
because she loves it.
If it
yeah,
if it's not there, you'll make one for her. I love that.
Yeah. One of the things that impresses me the most, one of the reasons I love showing up on Thursday, man, the Rainbow Girl, when she talks, those girls are smart. Mm-hmm. They got it going on. They're smart, eloquent. They wear their white dresses. They're just good girls. Mm-hmm. And now, don't get me wrong. I like DeMolay.
They speak better than a lot of the guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the rest of the weekend.
DeMolay, they're still just boys, right? They're just teenage boys. So they are not as smart as those girls. They do, represent themselves well for teenage boys, but they're still just teenage boys. The girls really got it.
Girls really are about 10 years ahead of guys. It's just some point where they just go just zip light years ahead of guys. I didn't get my head out of my butt till I was like 25, 26. Like most girls, 16, 17, they start figuring things out. I didn't figure things out till like 10 years after that.
Wow. I already had a baby that was 7 years old by the time you figured it out.
All right, man. Well, hey, it's 10:40. We've been doing this almost 2 hours. So let's wrap this up for the night.
Okay. Closing thoughts.
Oh, Zach just jumped in. I'm sorry, Zach. We were wrapping it up. Yeah, so I'm having to use my phone because my computer's being wonky. I'm just glad you guys are listening. But you go with closing thoughts. I'll jump on the bandwagon. Whatever bandwagon you bring up, I'll jump on it.
Well, now that Zach has jumped in, for all of you who are still here watching and listening, Zach is our webmaster working on our website. and he's the one that's going to make it all possible for us to have the inner circle memberships through our own website instead of going through YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have these events through our website as well, so that you can log into our website to be able to see us. You can log in as a non inner circle and be able to see stuff like this, but then as an inner circle member, you'll get certain perks and stuff like that go along with it. But yeah, Zach's creating it right now as we speak, and he's doing an amazing job. And I can't wait to see this thing realized, so that we can really promote and show how badass it is to have a real webmaster take care of your site, and then let some of you guys pay him to take care of your website.
Well, Zach is like a Jedi of webmaster. Like,
he is, man.
He is like, he's the real deal, man. I mean, this guy, he. But when there's a reason he's on board. We'll put it that way. He's got skills, like mad skills. So.
Well, and not only that, but he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
And he's exactly what we talk about when we say we take good men and make them better. Mm-hmm. He's already got a good head on his shoulders. He already thinks things through that most people don't. He's, and you have to, being a web designer, you actually have to do that. You have to have this, you have to look through the whole project before you can start right here. Because if you don't do it right here, you're not going to get to here. That's a fact. That's just how it is. And so Zach is already one of those people that, his thought process is for the end game. And those are the type of brothers that we're looking for in our fraternity. At least those are the ones I'm looking for. Absolutely. And so when you people out there that are not brothers yet, think about what your end game is. Know what you're wanting in life, and how you want to do that before you petition a lodge.
Yep.
That's important. But now to my ending thoughts. Love you, Zach. Sorry that we're shutting down too soon now. But back to my closing thoughts. We are here with Masonic Improvement to help the brothers like Oscar that are down there in the valley that don't have the experience that a lot of us get, being closer to the larger cities that have the resources to have the big Scottish rites, the big shrines, the big we have that, and we have a bunch of people that do education and things like that. They don't have those resources down there. So Masonic Improvement is here for those Masons, really, because you feel like you're on this little island, and you just don't know how to get out of that you don't know how to build that life raft for your lodge. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're here for, is to try to help. We're not here to talk down to every idea that everybody has. We have our own opinions, but they're just opinions. So don't ever make your decision based solely on what I say. Yeah. Figure it out for yourself and for your lodge, because ultimately it's about your success in your life and your lodge, making your time as valuable as possible, because you only get a certain amount, and you don't know how much that is, so you better make it count. Our goal is to help you get there. Mm-hmm. And for the people out there that are not Masons at this point, we talk a lot back and forth about different issues within Freemasonry and stuff like that. But we wouldn't be in it if there wasn't value, right? We wouldn't be fighting so hard for what we love if we didn't know what that pinnacle of the ideals and culture is. If we didn't have that vision, we wouldn't be fighting so hard for what we believe in to get us back to that level.
Well, I mean, this is an Alliance Club. This is an Alliance Club show. It's not a Rotary show, right? It's Freemasonry because it's something very special.
Right. There's something that we have to offer that nobody else has to offer. And that's, rites of passage. That's people that there are people that I can truly count on in any situation. In any situation, there are people that I can truly count on that have my back at all times. And I've got theirs just the same.
Yep.
Freemasonry does that. I am my brother's keeper. And I can tell you that not everybody gets it, and that's okay. Someday they probably will. But not everybody gets it right off the bat. But I am my brother's keeper, and everybody that I associate myself with is the exact same way. They're the ones who have built me up to be the person I am today. So don't let us deter you from Freemasonry because of the stuff that we talk about, because all we're doing is making sure that our brothers are having those conversations in their lodges, if their lodges aren't already doing it. A lot of lodges are. They're doing things so badass right now.
Yeah.
We have some absolutely magnificent lodges that are hitting on all 8 cylinders, making it happen for Freemasonry. And I hope to God you find one when you join. That's what I hope for you.
I love that, man. That's
Otherwise, Justin and I love this with everything we got. And that's why we're here, to try to help you to love it as much as we do. That's all I got to say. And from me to you, keep it between the points.
I would also say what Dennis and I talk about often. Sure, it's opinions, but it's tried and true,
educated
opinions,
educated opinions
based off our observations with our countless conversations with leadership all across the country. We don't cherry pick people just because we think it's going to be an echo chamber. We cherry pick them because we know that they are leaders in their little circle in Freemasonry. And time again, the takeaways from, listen to them. They're here on YouTube. The takeaways from our interviews are the same thing. It's the same takeaways. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the only solution. And if anyone disagrees with what we say, my opinion on a lot of things has changed over time. It's evolved because I'm not so set I'm not so set in my ways that I'm not willing to learn and listen. I learned stuff from the conversations we had about endowments today on Facebook, and so by all means, prove me wrong. And I don't say that from a point of like a condescension. Genuinely, prove me wrong. If you have a way that you think works better, then prove me wrong if you disagree with me, because I assure you, I will reevaluate my opinion based off what I see. So don't let it, if you disagree, don't let it turn you away from the fraternity. Take it as an opportunity to prove me wrong.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I always say to everybody. I challenge you to debate me. That's what I dig. I want that rhetoric. I want to go back and forth. And through that, we'll grow closer together, because I'll have more respect for you and more love for you, because you're willing to help me become better by challenging me, because my mind is not closed to all things. If it was, I would still be going to my Baptist church, thinking that that's the only way, where, now I know that, there's a bunch of other mystery schools that came way before Baptist churches came along. But not to get off topic, but
like Devin says his channel's a godsend, and I appreciate that. Like I sincerely, that's why we're here, right? To me, it's that's where I get my value is the feedback, right? People coming up to us at Grand Lodge or wherever saying, "Hey, I left the fraternity and I came back because of your show," or "Your show is the reason I joined the fraternity," or "Hey, we really turned our lodge around because we adopted some of these things." That's what it's about. That's what it's about. To me, and I don't know if Dennis feels the same way, it's me talking about what I'm passionate about for an hour, 2 hours, right? But if other people are getting value from just our conversations, that means so much to me. That's what it's all about. That's the whole point. Because if the fraternity, if brothers are getting benefits, then that means that they're taking these ideas back. And I was talking to a brother. I don't know if he's still here, but I was talking to a brother that was on the chat earlier. We had a phone conversation, and he takes these ideas back to his home lodge, and they may or may not be received very well. But that's the whole point: is the introduction. I say I because I started this before Dennis came along, but when I started these conversations, they were not received very well, and then when Dennis came on, like a lot of the conversations we had still were not received very well at the time. But that has changed, and that's why when we were talking about earlier about the overkill with the memes and stuff, we made the progress, Dennis, that we did because we overkilled things. We didn't like bombard everybody over a weekend, right? So
Right,
it wasn't like drinking water from a fire hose,
yeah,
but we didn't stop just because people didn't agree with us. We kept pushing, we kept pushing, we kept pushing, and now conversations are taking place that 10 years ago, no lodges were having these conversations. So
yeah,
it's yeah, you when you it's gonna sound really when you know you're right, you can't stop. You can't stop. You have to be a little bit relentless, and you have to be you kind of have to be that jerk. And sometimes you wear people out, but if you don't wear people out with facts, if you don't keep pushing your beliefs on about the fraternity, other people will. And nobody gets annoyed when if your belief is that Freemasonry should be egalitarian and cheap and we should fundraise, you can push that all day long with no resistance in most lodges, right? And you can push and push and push, and you'll get all the support in the world. And that's why I said earlier, yeah, it's overkill, but is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so, because what you're doing is you're pushing in the opposite direction. You have a very vocal minority that has controlled the narrative of the direction of our fraternity in our lodges and at our Grand Lodge level for decades, right? And so, yeah, it's annoying. I get it. You go on Facebook, you're already sold on the dues idea or whatever. You're just tired of seeing the memes. I get that. Block them for a week or two, right? But just because, like one brother, and I won't name his name, I have a lot of respect for him, and he's part of the reason I even created the podcast. And he told the brother that made the memes to touch grass, like, go touch grass. It's like, that's a crappy thing to say. That's a crappy thing to say, because he's passionate and pushing for what he believes. And if you don't like it, block him for a little bit, or just block him altogether. I mean, it really doesn't matter. And his lodge charges $1 a day to be a Mason, so his lodge isn't even one of the ones that's a problem necessarily. But so I'm going off on a little bit of tangent, but it's we in this group here, we have to take these things back to our lodge. That's where I'm going with this, and we have to be relentless. And it's very easy when people start to show resistance to the idea, and you think to yourself, well, maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe this isn't the best way to do things. Maybe it's easy to self-talk yourself into being doubtful, and lose your resolve. But you're in the right. You have a right to want more out of the fraternity and to expect more out of your lodge and your brothers. And if anyone tells you that no, that's not okay, they're in the wrong, and it's your responsibility to stand up for that expectation. And yeah, you won't make friends from it. You won't be popular with certain groups until you find that group that does like those ideas. But you'll never find them if you don't start talking about what you're looking for, if you don't start trying to demand it out of your lodge. And that may mean ultimately that lodge is not for you. and that's okay too. But you won't find your tribe until you're broadcasting your expectations of what you're looking for.
Right. It's all about finding your people.
Yep.
I'd like to build on that just a minute. With this summit, with the Masonic Improvement Summit, and there's two things that happened this year that would not have happened if it wasn't for our membership and our friends and brothers that join us on the shows and listen to us and all that. Two things. We affected change in two ways this year that without having to push or talk to anybody directly about it, we affected change twice. The first time was at the Phantom Memorial when we talked about it and said it just isn't right not to do it on the right day. And a lot of brothers showed up with me to do the Phantom Memorial. And lo and behold, the very next phone call I got after that was over was from Grand Officers saying, okay, what's the day next year? We're going to make sure we're there on the right day, and we're going to give you the full day. We're not going to be there for half a day and then take off to somewhere else. We're giving the memorial service the respect it deserves. We're giving it the full day. Effect number one. Effect number two was with the summit. One of the groups of Grand Lodge would always support the master's degree on the Lexington every year for the last 13 years, I think. And all of a sudden this year, they decided not to. Well, through us stepping up and doing the summit and showing all these people coming together, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was the biggest type summit, in Texas this year. Having all those people show up, it got notice of people that are going to be in grand positions next year to make the decisions. And they have already decided and made sure of what the date was going to be for that master's degree to where Grand Lodge is going to support that again next year. We won't be there next year because Grand Lodge is going to support it. And that's the way it should be. That is such an important event that they should be doing that. But without y'all, without our membership and without our inner circle, it would have never happened. Mm-hmm. Y'all took it boots to the ground and y'all made this happen to where we affected change in Freemasonry and Texas Freemasonry without having to confront anyone on it face to face.
Yeah.
We just made a move. We did what we thought was right. And others saw that it was the right thing to do. And now they're going to make sure and do it right going forward. And that's not to put a feather in our cap or anything else, because it would have never happened if it wasn't for you, the viewers, that are supporting us and supporting the things that we believe in. Mm-hmm. Because that shows that more people than just us believe in these things. And people are catching on.
Yeah. So
without even being confrontational, you have forced change in Texas Freemasonry for the better. And God bless
you have. I mean, that's very important because sure, we could have put together a summit, but there was no guarantee it was going to be successful. You made it successful.
If y'all hadn't showed up.
Yeah.
And even the fundraiser for the shrine came out to be a lot more than a lot of the auctions that have gone on from different events like that.
Of all the festive boards I've been to, like, they always have auctions and they always do, I hate to say poorly, but poorly. Like no one's bidding or anything like that. I was blown away by the generosity of the brothers at the summit. Like, their willingness to go up and try to outbid each other. And I mean, granted, the scythe was pretty awesome, but there was a lot of other really cool stuff too. And I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, between that and just it was such a great event.
Yeah. So without you guys, none of that would have ever happened. And I am so humbled and grateful for your participation in all that we do. In fact, I've really slacked off on getting real speakers in or real interviews in, and I'm going to pick that back up because you deserve better out of me. and I'm going to make sure and get those people here so that we have somebody to give you to listen to on your way to work. So with that
I
being
needed a
said,
few weeks to recover anyway. Honestly, like
man, I still haven't recovered really. I still
I
have.
can imagine. Yeah, I mean, it was you took the brunt of the responsibility for the summit. But yeah, just all the
Also,
build up and everything. Just I didn't mind having
if
a week or two we didn't have something.
right, if y'all hadn't seen it, this I created this flask for. Oh man, it's hard to see. There you go. See that?
Yep.
So that's the flask that I created for my 2022 team that I was a part of with the Grandmaster of 2022, and so they're going to be buying those. But I am also, what I'm trying to say is I'm also making more flasks for Masonic Improvement that
Coffee
have the
flask.
Masonic, yes, coffee
Coffee
flasks. Give
flask.
me 1 second. Let me go grab it real quick. I want to show these people so that if they want to order one, they can message us and get one. They usually cost about $10 to ship individually, but I can do it for $12 and ship like 4 or 5 of them. So if there's several people within an area that want one, that's definitely the best way to go about it, so that you can get the best bang for your buck.
I'll say this, and I don't want to call anybody out, but we jokingly call them coffee flask. That doesn't mean take it to your event and fill it up with coffee in front of everybody.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Oh,
That'd be
I
so
witnessed
funny.
that. I witnessed that, and he was getting some strange looks. He's like, "It's okay, it's coffee." It's like they're like,
That is
you want some
awesome.
more coffee with that Irish?" And he's like, "It's okay, it's just coffee." He's like,
Right. So
ah.
this is
You know who you are.
it's hard. This is the Masonic Improvement one, and everybody that went to the summit got one. And Zach should have gotten one because I sent it to him. It may be tomorrow, Zach, um, but I thought it was supposed to get there today. But everyone that went to the summit got one. But I'm going to go ahead and keep making these for
Yeah, dude.
anybody that wants to order one. And so the cost is $20 plus the shipping. And then, like I said, if you get several of them, it's, you come out better because the shipping is only $12 as opposed to shipping one, it's $10.
I would be sure you
Um,
rinse it out first because I've been told like you probably want to rinse it out before you put anything in it. It has
dude, it's like anything else. You're
yeah.
supposed to rinse stuff out. You're
Well,
supposed to
I
clean.
agree. I agree, but I'm just telling you, be sure you do. I think there's some like not from my personal experience. I think there's some residue or something like a powdery residue from the process. Just
Right.
soap and water before you
Well,
put
yeah,
anything in.
these are powder coated. These are powder coated, so they get sprayed with this stuff and then cooked in an oven. So it's very plausible that it could have gotten in there during the deal. But yeah, you should always clean everything before you.
I
I,
agree.
dude, I'm one of those people. If I buy a shirt,
Uh huh.
it goes in the washer before I put it on my body because it was
Okay.
in some warehouse somewhere that some rat may have walked across.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird. I buy underwear at garage
And I
sales and
don't.
just throw them on.
Oh my god! And I don't want that fire retardant stuff on my body either. I mean, talk about glowing in the dark. I do not want to be that guy when I'm 80 years old. But anyways, back to you brothers. Thank you so much. Y'all are the reason we do this, and and in a way, you're also the reason why I work so hard within my Freemasonry because I do not want to let you guys down. If I'm going to preach it and teach it, I'm going to walk that walk.
Keep it between the points, bros.
Yeah, you see, I've got a Scottish Rite ring
Yeah,
and a Master Mason's ring.
is that the 14th degree?
Yes,
Nice,
Lodge of Perfection.
nice, perfect. All right, later, everybody.